Good morning. My name's Patrick. Today I'm going to go over palm trees and how to identify the palm trees so that you as a customer, when you're calling, we can give you this video or show you this video and you can quickly go through and say, that's the palm tree that I have, or the palm tree that I saw, or the palm tree that I want for my yard. So the first one that we're going to go to, we're going to get right into it real quick. I don't want to make this a long video, so we're going to get right into it. First palm tree, windmill. Windmills typically have a fuzzy trunk, okay? Now, windmills kind of look similar to a Mediterranean. The Mediterranean, and the difference between the two, Mediterraneans typically have a multi-trunk, and Mediterraneans also have spikes on the fronds. These have no spikes. I can run my finger up and down on this without having any problems getting myself poked. Okay, so that's your main difference between your windmill. I also have some big ones. There's some big ones there. Great trees, cold hardy, somewhere between 12 and about 15 degrees. Good for the Houston area, not a big deal. When we get into our, a little bit of our freezing weather, and when we do get colder, you do have to do some protections and possibly cover them up. Next tree we're going to talk about is the Medjool. Now, Medjools and Sylvesters, which are going to be across the street over here, and we'll go over there here in a few minutes and talk about the Sylvesters. Most people can't tell the difference between the two. Most of the time, the Medjool is going to have a longer frond. Your frond is typically going to be a greenish blue, and your canopy is going to be kind of a little bit wider of a canopy. Okay, these are diamond cuts here. Both can do diamond cuts, but your frond is typically your telltale sign on whether you have a Medjool or Sylvester. You can always email us or shoot us a picture, text us. We can help you out on identifying. A lot of times your Sylvesters, your diamond trunk is going to be able to tell the difference on the diamond trunk because you have a lot more diamonds on the trunk itself as opposed to a Medjool where you wouldn't have as many. So let's talk about the fronds. This one's a good example right here. You can see in the canopy, okay, that the frond has a lot of yellow and green. So the frond is going to be a big telltale sign as opposed to the deeper green blue color on the Medjool. Both are going to have a crazy spike that you don't want to poke yourself with. It hurts a lot, and it will go through flip-flops if you step on it. Let's walk over here to the mule palms. Mule palms are what we've kind of shifted over instead of queens. Queens, I don't suggest for the Houston area anymore. They're only cold hardy to about 25 degrees. We regularly get 25 or down to about 20 degrees, and that's not something that I suggest anymore because you're just going to be replacing it, if not every year, every other year. Now the mule palm looks a little bit different. You've got a different trunk, okay, on the tree itself, and a very long flowy frond, which is what the queen has. So a lot of people, when they come in and ask for a queen, I like to show them the Medjool or the mule palms because it's as close as you're going to get to the queen, and the cold hardiness of these are between 12 and 15 degrees. Next up, we have a canary. Now, your canaries are very, very easy to tell because of their trunk. Their trunk is very distinct. A lot of people like to call them the pineapple palm because they kind of look like a pineapple up here at the top. So canaries, cold hardy, somewhere around 15 to 17 degrees. They are a thicker tree, so they have a tendency to do a little bit better in the freezes. Some better, some worse. But on average, you're in that 15 to 17 degree cold hardiness. Next, pindos. Pindos, cold hardy to about 9 degrees on average. Pindos have this long froey frond, and typically they're a bluish green. So we have a a couple of different pindos as we walk by here, so that we can you can see the difference on them. Now I'm going to walk over here on here we go. It's taking me a minute to get over to the Mediterraneans. A couple more pindos. Mediterraneans, remember we talked about Mediterraneans with the with the windmills. They look very similar. They have a fuzzy trunk, a little bit different trunk, but if you're not looking close enough at it, you can't tell what it is. The biggest way to tell the difference between a windmill and a Mediterranean, see if I can get this in here, is these spikes. See these spikes right here? That'll hurt you, okay? They get long and they will hurt, but that's the easiest way to tell the difference. Typically, now this would kind of look like a windmill, but it is indeed a Mediterranean. They come in all different shapes and sizes. A little bit taller ones here. This one's got 3 or 4 pups growing out of the bottom of this one. And let's see, we can come over here to this bushy one. They can get as bushy as this. And you can see, you know, that's kind of thick and full. They're a slow grow. They don't grow very fast. And they're cold hardy to about 15 degrees on average. Let's walk over here to the Florida Sabals. Now, Florida Sabals are the most cold hardy tree that we sell. You're about 0 to 5 degrees on the cold hardiness. And they are a fan palm, which some people like them, but a lot of people like the frond as opposed to the fans. But here's some good examples of some Florida Sabals. Now, as you can see, we have a lot of Florida Sabals. This is probably one of the trees that we sell the most of here at Verdant, and we like to keep a lot of stock on those. Let's walk over here to the weeds of the palm trees, also known as the Mexican fan. These bad boys can grow between 2 and 4 feet a year. So if you like something that grows fast, this is a great tree for you. You just want to be careful because these trees have a very bad spike on them that will hurt you in the frond. So when you go to trim the tree, you just need to be careful. All of them are going to have it. But this is how you kind of tell the difference. You can see how big these are. I mean, here's my finger here. These are big. So you got to be careful. They're sharp. Okay. Let's see here. What else do we have? I have a gorgeous mule putting out a white flower here, as you can see. Let's see. We also have, here's the last one. We have a Texas Sabal, which is going to look very much like a Florida Sabal, with the exception of typically the frond is a bigger frond and the tree is a little bit thicker. Other than that, same cold hardiness. Everything else, it's very, very slow. You're only looking at 4 to 6 inches a year on those trees at most. But that's really it, guys. Those are going to be the trees that you're going to find. Again, as I mentioned earlier, queen palms, we don't suggest them anymore. Yes, we see people selling them all the time. Can we get them if you really want it? Sure, I can get them for you. But it's not a tree that is we typically carry anymore. So we're going to carry the more cold hardy trees, stuff that's going to have the opportunity to live, especially in our colder weather. Now, remember, when you start talking about cold hardy, ask what is the degree of cold hardiness, because I can say something's cold hardy, and what does that mean? It's 32 degrees, 25 degrees, or can we get all the way down into the single digits? Ask what those questions are so that you can be knowledgeable about what kind of risk you're taking when you buy a palm tree. But that's it for me here at the farm. I hope you guys have a great day. Hope this answered a lot of your questions. And feel free to give us a call at 345-6789 if you have any other questions. Have a great day. Bye-bye.